Hey guys, welcome to Ultimate Survival Tips. I'm David. I'm glad you joined us today as we dig into the nuts and bolts of how to home freeze dry food. So after our last video on freeze drying, a lot of people were intrigued with the idea and have asked us to do some practical videos on how we use our home freeze dryer at home. So get ready for this. I've invited our resident long-term food storage expert, my wife Karen, to join the show today. Hi, hon.
Hi.
This is like your debut on the channel.
I'm so thrilled.
So, today we're going to go through some of the basics of using our Harvest Right freeze dryer, and then we're going to freeze dry a batch of seasonal food from start to finish.
That's right. And before we're all done, I'm going to share a few tips and tricks that I've learned over the past few months to help you get the most out of, ta-da, this beautiful machine.
But before we get into all of this, we have a special offer for you from the folks at Harvest Right freeze dryers, where they're going to give you up to $400 off a complete freeze dryer bundle that includes everything you need to get started. But you got to use our special link, ultimatesurvivaltips.com/freeze. Plus, when you go to ultimatesurvivaltips.com/freeze, you're going to get free shipping for a limited time. And I'm just going to tell you guys, that's a lot, because this unit and everything that comes with it is several hundred pounds. It actually came on a pallet. So to get up to $400 off everything you need to start freeze drying and free shipping, use the link in the description or on the screen right now. Or you can go to ultimatesurvivaltips.com/freeze. Okay, you ready to get into this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do it. So in our last freeze dryer video, we went over 11 reasons to freeze dry food, which are 25-year shelf life, no refrigeration needed, it converts frozen food to freeze dried, preserves the food's nutrition and freshness, it's better than dehydrated, canned, and frozen food, it reduces food waste, it's easy to freeze dry almost any food, you can freeze dry meals and leftovers, you can choose your own ingredients. Freeze-dried food is lightweight for emergency preparedness, camping, or even really quick meals that you can serve to your family. And your freeze dryer pays for itself quick. So to see the full video that we put together, use the link above or in the video description. And now that we went through those 11 reasons that we put into the last video, I'm just really curious. I mean, I know you've been passionate about freeze drying long before I even knew that there were like home freeze dryers. So you've always wanted to have one. Now that you've had one for several months and you've used it extensively, what are some things that you're like jazzed about, or what was your initial reason for getting into it?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I've done canning for a long time since I was a little wee thing, helping my mom with lots of acres of garden. And in the 70s, that was good. You canned your produce and you had multicolored jars and you felt good that you got your harvest in. As I got older, I got sick lots of times. And I started to learn about nutrition and food prep and just different aspects of being healthy. And one summer while I was canning food, it just struck me that what I was doing was not really the healthiest way I could be preserving my food, and it's so much work. So with a freeze dryer, it definitely locks in the nutrition because it uses a process called lyophilization. That's a big word for just freeze drying. You get your food in, it gets frozen. If you haven't pre-frozen it, which I usually do to save time and energy, then the very intelligent machine starts the vacuum. So when it creates this vacuum, that allows it to not use so much heat to sublimate, take the water out of the produce or product that you're freeze drying and vaporize it. So it skips a stage, just goes from frozen to vapor. I'm sure we've all pulled out the big Ziploc bags out of the freezer that are half their weight in frost. It's very discouraging. And then you open it up and it smells like freezer burn, and you've got to toss like all this work because it just tastes awful.
Yeah.
So
there's a limited storage life to frozen food, which is what, like a year or two, maybe?
yeah, when you vacuum pack your food for the freezer, it does last longer because you've taken all the air out.
So maybe this is a good point just to mention to people that there's 3 enemies of food. One is heat, the other one is moisture, and the other one is light. So we're, in this process, we're eliminating 2 of those. We're eliminating the heat and the moisture. We're drawing the moisture out, and freeze drying, it's never reaching that, the water's never reaching that liquid phase. It's going immediately from frozen to gas. And so in dehydration, we have a limited lifespan too, which is what, maybe 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Canning about the same.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
And all of those processes you still have exposure to air, and they're both heat processes.
Yeah.
Even though if you have a good dehydrator, it's a lesser heat. So that's the magic of freeze drying.
It is. It's super lightweight too.
Okay.
And I've been amazed, like when I pull like a tray full of avocados that went in kind of heavy, and you pull them out and it's, they're crispy and light. When that water vapor gets evaporated, it leaves like this porousness to your end product, and that makes it super light. So.
And then it rehydrates really easy. Yep. It's really just like it was fresh when the water
Certain things. I've done some herbs and tried to rehydrate them, and I wasn't impressed with the freshness, but they would still be great for tea.
Why don't we take a look at the freeze dryer, take a look at how we have it set up here, and maybe you can just talk through the major parts, and then we'll come back to the table here and we'll talk a little bit about what comes with an entire freeze dryer bundle. All right?
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, so we have a medium-sized unit that has 4 shelves. But the first thing I want to show you is what we have put our freeze dryer on. We've got this Craftsman rolling tool cabinet, and it's perfect for being able to, if we need to move it, it's just a great setup station that I use all the drawers for different components in the process, and super handy dandy.
Just talk through real quick the components of the freeze dryer.
Okay, so since it's right in the front, we'll look at the chamber first.
Let me give you
We've
one of the
got
trays.
this lovely, nice, thick acrylic door.
So like Karen mentioned, the difference between the small, medium, and large freeze dryer is what?
The large one has 5 trays.
This is the medium. It
so-
has 4 trays.
Yep.
And they go in like that,
Yep.
right? And then the small has what, 3 trays?
Must be.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the only difference. They're all the
Yeah.
same except for the amount of food that you can put in them.
Right. Okay, so this is the rubber gasket. I was afraid to take this off at first, but it's meant to come off.
So it's a heavy duty gasket, and that actually, when you close the door, it locks it on, and that seals it so that the vacuum can produce a vacuum.
Yep. After every time you do food, you're gonna wanna clean. It's gonna be wet in here. There's gonna be maybe some ice if you just use room ambient temperature to defrost, which I do a lot. So anyway,
this comes out for easy cleaning.
This just comes out for easy cleaning, and then after you're done cleaning, you just put this back on.
And so that locks shut, I see. Oh, okay, so it like twists again, and that really, I can see the ring now on the glass
Yep.
that seals it. And
Yep.
then what's this here?
So this is your vacuum pump. We have the Premier vacuum pump. It comes with its own booklet on how to set it up. It was pretty easy to set up.
So I have to ask this question. So who set this all up?
I set all this up.
I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning stuff. I had no idea you had heating pads on the bottom of these shelves either.
Here's our pump. It's attached to the freeze dryer by this coil. We have secured it this way. It has, this is the mister, demister. You open that up, you fill it up with your oil. There's a male and female plug ends on the back. One end is for plugging in your pump to the unit, because this is the brains, this is the worker. And the brains tells the worker what to do and when. And that needs to be plugged in to know all that. And then the other plug end is for this itself to go into the wall outlet. Okay, so I'm going to go to the other side of the unit and point out to you the drain valve. So before you would start any batch, you would be closing this valve so that it's perpendicular to the flow. And that keeps all the air from flowing in and out and allows the vacuum to happen. When your product is ready, it'll tell you to open the drain valve and you'll hear a psh.
Okay, and I see this up here. This is, and I've seen this running, so I do know this is like your instruction control screen. Can we turn it on so everybody can just see it go whoop, whoop, and light up?
Sure. Okay, so this is your beginning screen, and you know, it'll say customize or start. Customize is for advanced. Start is all you would need to do, and then it literally walks you through the process, and you just trust the machine with what it's going to do.
Let's just talk, like, there's a couple special requirements for it. It is a big unit, and I know some of these just because we've discussed it. It's a big unit, so, and it does make some noise. It's not extraordinarily noisy, but it would probably be something you wouldn't want in your kitchen, right?
I originally thought I would want it in my kitchen, and the Harvest Right representative suggested maybe I wouldn't want it in my kitchen.
Yep.
And I'm glad I followed his suggestion. Also, we keep it in the basement because the ambient temperature stays a lot more stable. If it were up in my kitchen, I usually have a fan on this when it's running because it runs hot. And with a fan on it, it really works a lot less hard, and I really think it helps my things get done quicker. Nice. So we've basically got noise, size, power. They do recommend that you're running it out of an outlet that only runs this because it does have I think it's more like the startup draw of the unit. Yeah,
and
it can surge, I guess, at different points in the process. So yeah, no extension cords and all that.
What are we gonna do anyway? What are we gonna put in here?
We're gonna put some blueberries in because that's what we have right now. I have put them in the freezer overnight. I prep them by taking a fork and poking holes. Blueberries are encased fruit, so you need to allow that water vapor to escape. If you just stick them in as they are, they're not gonna freeze dry.
So we've got 4 trays of blueberries with holes in them, pre-frozen. What if I don't have a freezer that I can put 4 trays of blueberries in? Can you just stick them in here and have them freeze?
You can. It'll just take longer. This unit will freeze your whatever you put in there.
So you pre-freeze stuff like this, why? Just to save time?
It saves a lot of time, like possibly 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it takes it a long while to freeze the food.
So this is all set up. You don't need the pre-freeze. We just happen to have a big chest freezer that it makes it convenient to put these in.
It's not that simple. This is good. For pre-frozen food, I forgot for this video, you want to pre-freeze your chamber because my food is going to unfreeze by the time it gets frozen. Okay, we're back at the freeze dryer. It's down to 18 degrees Fahrenheit and ready for the frozen food to be loaded. So that's what we're going to do next. Now we're going to close the drain valve and push continue. And it's freezing.
All right, so that's it. We'll check into it, tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
All right. All right, everybody, we're back. It's been a little bit over 20 hours since we put things in the freeze dryer, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell us about what we're gonna do now. Is it done? How do we know that?
Well, we're gonna assume it's done. We're gonna check and see if it's done. So
it says now what?
The first thing I
Process
have
complete.
to do All right, yeah, I'll read you what the screen says. Process complete. Open the drain valve to vent. Would you open the drain valve for us?
It's the first time I've ever done this. Oh, wow. And what is it doing now?
It's letting air into the chamber. It's releasing the vacuum. So I can open the door.
Oh. Would it explode if you didn't release the vacuum?
I wouldn't be able to open the door.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, pull out our tray. And so I do a touch test. Things should not be cold. I think this tray is good. We have to work quickly because these trays were starting to get a little bit chilled. That's what the freeze dryer will do. If you can't get to it right when it's done, it'll keep things chilled. So I'm going to dump these into this bag because this is a 2-gallon Ziploc. Just easy to get the stuff off the tray into this, more so than the bag I'm gonna store it in. This is a gallon size, so I guess we'll just have some room to spare.
You need to hold anything?
You can hold that if you want. And then okay. And we're gonna put in an oxygen absorber.
So we're actually sealing this for the...
I'm gonna put in an oxygen absorber. I'm gonna reseal this real quick with my sealer.
Oh, that's a great idea. I wondered how you did that, actually.
And just work on getting as much air out of this as I can. And then we'll do a double seal. I have to turn the heat up higher because this is Mylar. I always do these crooked. And then
Does the heat sealer kind of tell you when you're done?
it does. The light goes off and I hear a little click.
That's a nice heat sealer. And this heat sealer comes with the whole bundle
Okay.
that you get with a
So we
freeze dryer.
double sealed it. That's recommended by Harvest, right? And then I'll just write blueberries and we'll be good to go.
So I just want to point out the fact that, like, if you look at these blueberries, they actually look like they're fresh. Well, Karen, you truly are the food preparation expert in this household. And I know that you've helped a lot of people kind of understand the whole process of freeze drying soup to nuts. And we got some really nice looking blueberries. I can't wait to put some in a bowl or pop some in my mouth and taste them. Thank you so much for being here with me.
You're welcome.
We've just taken a look at how to use your Harvest Right freeze dryer to preserve your first batch of food. To start your home freeze drying journey today, use our special link, ultimatesurvivaltips.com/freeze, to get up to $400 off your Harvest Right freeze dryer bundle that includes everything you need to get started. And check this out, everybody. You get free shipping for a limited time. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and notifications button right now so you don't miss out on any of the free content in our emergency preparedness food storage training series. All right, everybody, I think that's about it. Thanks for joining us. I'm David.
And I'm Karen. We hope to see you on the other side. And remember,
Be prepared because you never know